it for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TB. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast, and welcome on this Tuesday, March 28th. It is a couple of minutes past 10 p.m. right here. You're watching us live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Got myself a new pen today. Actually, jotted down a few things. It's nice. It's one of these pens that writes nice and smooth. You see, that's the way, like they said on the Flintstones, nice and smooth. See, that's the way. I'm not in a very good mood today, by the way. I'm going to tell you why in just a second here. As a matter of fact, no, I'm not very happy. I'm in a foul mood today, a very, very foul mood. But in the meantime, I am happy to tell you that the Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group. I'm going to bring you the show with a lot of energy tonight. Trust me when I tell you that, because they are a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. They are driven to be different like me. And also brought to you in part by Bittt at Tibi, brewed in Quebec and a winner of a dozen international awards. Bittt at Tibi offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. Bittt at Tibi, embrace your true nature. The Canadiens and the Philadelphia Flyers. It was the debut for Sean Farrell, and the Canadiens lose in Philly to John Tortorella's Flyers by a score of 3-2. This one decided pretty much right until the end of the game there. Raphael Harvey-Pinard narrowed the lead with seconds left in the game, but it was too little too late for the Canadiens. Who were tied at 1, but the Flyers goal put the Flyers up by a score of 2-1 with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left in regulation. Owen Tippett added a goal with 1:56 left in regulation. That was an empty netter on a giveaway from Mike Matheson, and then Raphael Harvey-Pinard once again, who narrows the lead with 23 seconds left. And I should tell you that Brendan Gallagher, for a second night in a row, scored again. Man, that was a nice shot. Not a bad night for Kaden Primo. The Flyers had 27 shots, and Primo did everything he could. I don't think any of them were on him. We'll discuss Cayden Primo and other prospects and the game with former Montreal Canadiens scout and now of Recruits and Recruits.ca. Grant McCagg, what's happening with you?
You're in a foul mood, Tony.
I'm in a foul mood.
You should get a chicken sponsor.
A chicken sponsor?
Foul mood, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. As a
you.
matter of fact, I've been eating chicken and pretty much nothing but chicken for the last couple of days. And this explains one of the reasons that explains my foul mood, Grant, which I wanted to get to is, folks, if you see that I'm like not at 100%, or I've lost a little bit of patience, or I have a headache, and or I have to rush to the bathroom to pee, well, I told you I was going to start a lifestyle change, and I did. And that lifestyle change obviously has me on a lot less calorie intake now than before. It has me on less sugar now than it did before. And so I'm battling through a couple of side effects for the first couple of days, which I've been told already in advance would probably last for about a week. So I'm a little antsy. I'm a little cranky. I'm in a little bit of a foul mood, but I'm happy because a couple of days in, I already feel lighter. And if you're wondering, why I might have to leave at some point to pee, well, there's 4 liters why. All right. And I finish that every day. All right. Okay. I got that out of the way. What's going on with you?
Oh, I got my water too there, Tony.
Yeah? Okay, good. You drink 4 liters a day?
I try to. Yeah, that's pretty much all I drink, really.
Ah, good for you. All right. It's going to be pretty much all I drink over the next little while. I have the feeling too. All right. Okay. Sean Farrell. We'll talk about his debut in just a second. Did you have a chance to see Marty St. Louis pregame with members of the media in the little scrum there, asked about, what's going on, who's playing, who's not playing, what lineup changes, all that stuff. Did you see that?
No, I missed that.
All right. So I'm going to show it to you. And Yellow and Sammy in Master Control, bring it up.
Pour se préparer pour un premier match, des fois on a juste une journée. C'est un peu ça pour Sean Farrell aujourd'hui.
Ouais, non, il va jumper dans la game.
Qu'est-ce que tu sentais qui était peut-être à l'aise ou prêt à...
Ah, c'est une question pour Kent, ça.
Est-ce que y a-t-il des changements ou ça va être le seul?
Non, ouais, le seul changement, Tiernan, il va sortir.
Okay. Je comprends pas que c'est une question pour Ken. C'est
ouais.
Qui fait ton line-up?
Ouais, c'est une question pour Kent.
OK.
All right. Okay. What you don't see is the look of Maurice Rocket Richard, which have surprised a lot of people, right? We surprised a lot of people. We're not showing you the actual video because of copyright laws and stuff like that. We can't. In the couple of cases that we did show a video or two, boom, we got our hand slapped right away. And there's only so many times you get your hand slapped on YouTube before you're in a little bit of trouble. So basically what he said was Farrell's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Tierney's going to be out. And in the end, Tierney ended up playing. And it was Kirby Dach that was out because he was out due to injury. And we'll get to that in a second. And then he was asked, you obviously thought that Farrell could make the jump and come in right away. And he said, that's a question for Kent. And then he was asked again, question for Kent. What do you mean? And he said, yeah, that's a question for Kent. And he looked at the reporter, who I believe was Simon Olivier Larange from La Presse, with this Maurice Richard look.
The glare.
The glare. He wasn't happy. It looked like I don't know what happened here, Grant, and we can only speculate at this point until we get more information. And I'm sure that Marty St. Louis is a fan of Sean Farrell's, but it didn't look like his intention was to have him in the lineup already tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because he doesn't have a practice in. I don't know where you stand on that. He was probably wanted to show him a few things or wanted him to wait a little bit. I'm not sure. But you heard it. I saw it and heard it. What do you think?
That's interesting. I think likely, negotiations with, and I mean, I'm just going to speculate, obviously, but...
Please do. Please speculate, because I have a speculation too. Go ahead.
I'm thinking maybe, when Hughes sat down with the agent, and I mean, I don't know exactly how these things go, but, maybe there was a guarantee made that he would play the last 10 games of the season or something like that. Like, how many games do they have left? Like counting tonight? Maybe, maybe there was something there that, to entice him to come, maybe sometimes you have to dangle a carrot for these guys to come early, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, they played game 75 tonight, did they not?
Okay. So, I mean, the last 8 games or what, who knows? Like maybe, there was a promise made that he plays in their,
7 left. Grant,
the last 8 games counting tonight, and that that's part of the reason why he decided to sign. Like I don't know for sure, but it probably has something to do with Kent making a promise to the agent that he'd play without, and usually that's left up to the coach, right? And I guess maybe perhaps Marty doesn't, and I don't blame him for thinking that we should probably get some practices under his belt before he sticks him out there. But
look, I at this stage of the season and what they're playing for, I mean, they're not playing for anything. Actually, you know what? Every loss is better than a win at this point, because you want to at least be the 5th worst team in the National Hockey League to give yourself the best shot at Connor Bedard. Doesn't look like they're going to, be able to finish better than that, or worse than that, depending on which way you look at it. But my speculation is pretty much on par with yours. I said to Jean-Charles Lajoie earlier tonight on TVA Sports Television, I said, I'm just speculating here. So here's my speculation. Hughes talks with the agent, talks with Sean Farrell, and says, yeah, you know what, kid, you're going to play your first game in Philly. right? Thinking they're playing 2 games in 2 nights. They're playing in Buffalo the night before. Chances are Marty's going to make a change as well because you know what? 2 games in 2 nights, you maybe want to have somebody with fresh legs. So Hughes probably taking it for granted, assuming that Farrell's going to play. Says, yeah, kid, you'll play your first game in Philly. And then he says to Marty, yeah, so what are we looking at tonight? And the kid, you know what, Kent? Yeah, I want to give him a couple of days before I get him in the lineup. And I also want to reward the guys in Buffalo, big win last night, this, that. I'm going to play the same team. No, yeah, but Marty, I already told the agent, I already told the kid that the kid's playing. Okay, yeah. I mean, why did you do that for? I mean, no, I don't want him to play, not tonight. Yeah, but, like Marty, now I already told him, like, what do I do? I mean, I can't go back and tell the kid or the agent he's not playing. And so that's my speculation. I could end up being way off. I don't expect anyone to admit it, by the way. I don't expect Marty St. Louis tomorrow to tell you the true story because he would have told you today. And I don't expect Kent Hughes to come out and tell you what's happening in-house because that's a conversation between them two. So that's what I think.
Well, I mean, I don't know that it was maybe the smartest thing, but, Marty's pretty spontaneous, and I think he just reacted, how he felt at the time. But it might have been best for him not to, answer the question that way. But, what's done is done. So, there'll be lots of speculation in the Montreal media over the next couple days.
Yeah, this is what I say to that is that the coach talks too much, man. I'm going to be in the minority here, okay? Because members of the media, they want people to talk as much as possible because it produces clips and it produces material to talk about on your radio show, your TV show, or your podcast. All right? Can we leave Marty St. Louis he talks after every practice. He talks before every game. He talks after every game. I mean, in my world, he talks after every game. He talks after some practices. And the amount of free time that he has after that, he does 3 or 4 sick podcasts with Tony Marinaro per year. That's it.
Yeah. No, I agree that, you keep talking to the press, there's going to be some slips here and there, right? I mean, nobody's perfect especially when you're being, asked questions all the time, You're not always going to say the right thing. And then there's the big headline, Marty says this on the sick podcast, and,
Yeah, no, but I wouldn't put Marty in a bad spot here in the podcast. No. But it's funny I said that because at the end of I'm probably going to want to speak to him at some point anyway. But I think he does. I think he does too much. I just think he does too much. And you know what? I actually think if I talk to him, I don't even know if I talk to him that much about the internal stuff, the players or this or that. Probably want to have some other kind of conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Gordon kind of confirmed that during the post-game interview, all of his family was going to be here, and the rest. All right, there you have it. So I didn't see that. Did Jeff Gordon talk at the end of the game? Gordon kind of confirmed it during the post-game interview. All of his family was going to be here, and the rest. All right, okay. I didn't see it, but... if Jose Levesque says it, that's the way it went down.
Yeah. Well.
All right. What did you think of his play?
It looked like he hadn't had many practices. It's going to take a little while. It's. I think he stepped into the USHL and dominated, and he stepped into college hockey and dominated, and he's not going to be able to step into the NHL and dominate, So it'll be a bit of an eye opener for him. It's going to take him some time, but the one thing that's always been a bit of a concern and probably why he dropped to the 4th round, it was because he wasn't an elite skater, let's say, and you didn't notice it at the USHL level or college, but I thought you noticed it tonight that he's certainly not an above average skater at this point.
No.
So Would you agree with that, Tony?
No, he's an average skater. Period.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's going to take some time to adjust to the speed and the size. And what I also noticed was, and you didn't notice it in the USHL and in college, is how small he is. Like he's up beside Nick Delorier there at one point, and there has to be 50, 60 pounds difference there almost. So it's going to be an adjustment period for him, and certainly being stuck on the line with Gurianov too and Drouin, who there are nights when they can be pretty well invisible, and I didn't think that they were especially on their game tonight either. So it wasn't it was a bit of a tough spot to put him into. I thought, without practices and such, and I think that's part of what Marty thought too.
Yeah, I'm just pardon me. I'm just going to bring up Marc-Andre Perreault's tweet, and Marc-Andre Perreault says on Jeff Gorton. Jeff Gordon tells us that the main reason to play Farrell tonight was to make him play his first game in front of his family. Understood that it's one of the reasons. He also said the negotiations with Cole Caulfield are going well, and he is confident that it will continue to go well. Says Marc-Andre Perreault with a Jeff Gordon smiling when he said it. So there you have it. Jeff Gordon spoke, and there you have it. He was. They wanted him to play in front of family and friends, and maybe the coach wasn't aware that they had made him that promise. And coaches probably, I would imagine, they don't like when someone dictates the lineup, right? Yeah. But it happens. It happens. It happens more than people think, and especially in Montreal.
A lot of college kids, when they come out, they play pretty. They're almost in the lineup within a few days. Like, I expected this. Yeah. Even if I don't know that he necessarily was ready. Yeah. It happens a lot that they play pretty quickly. I think even Jordan Harris, he sat out the first game on that Florida trip last year and then played the next night type thing too. Yeah. There's a lot of guys that they're, for whatever reasons, and I think it's to do with the deals that they make with the agents and that. Well, okay, we'll sign now. We'll come out early, but we want guarantee that he gets to play some.
Yeah, and don't forget, the more games you play, the more money you make. And
that's right. Yeah, that's right. And burn that entry-level year contract. That's always a big incentive for them, Yeah. Like why he didn't do like Struble and go, just sign the AHL contract and not burn a year this year,
Yeah, because they think he's a National Hockey League material. Having said that, he's going to have to get stronger.
Yes.
He's going to have to get a little thicker. He's going to have to work on that skating in the offseason that you talked about to bring it up a notch, or else, we all know he's shifty and he has a lot of talent, but what he's done so far will not be able to translate at the National Hockey League level unless he's able to do some of those things that we just talked about, right? What else do you see?
Yeah, I think, we saw some positives there. You can tell how intelligent a player he is, he almost set up the winning goal, the tap in, I think it was Evans at the side of the net, where he delayed on the boards and made a really nice pass to him, and it must have just skipped over his stick, or we'd be talking about how great it was that Farrell set up the winning goal in his in his first game. So there's that. Again, Gurianov was pretty much invisible tonight.
He was.
That's unfortunate, and that's unfortunate that Farrell got put with invisible Gurianov is sort of like invisible Armia. You don't get a lot out of him, and when they're like that, you're a line mate. You don't. It doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't help. And you saw tonight why Dallas gave up on him. A guy who has a major league shot, who has some vision, who has some hands, who has, like, when he puts together, there's some serious tools there. But if the effort and the will to play isn't there, then you forget about all that stuff. And tonight was one of those nights. I need to get Sammy and Yellow in here right away. There's something extremely urgent that we have to get to. Sammy and Yellow, you have to come on and join Grant and I right away. Guys, something very serious going on in Laval. Justin H. just put in the YouTube chat that Emil Heineman is on fire in Laval. Agnello, I'm doing a podcast. Pick up the phone, call the fire department right away, send them to Laval to put out Emil Heineman. He's on fire, Agnello. He's on fire.
I knew it wasn't Grant. I knew it wasn't something going to be serious, of course. Right?
Did he get another one? I know he had scored twice.
I'm just getting a note that he's on fire. 4 goals now. 4 games, 4 goals for Emil Heineman.
Yeah. And I think he went 10 games in a row before that in the Swedish league without a goal. I think he's more suited for the North American game. We saw it in preseason how effective he could be. I thought he was going to win a spot in the lineup before he got injured there. Comes back to North America, and he plays a north-south big game style, and I think he's really suited for the North American game, and hopefully he comes into camp next year and wins a spot. Like right now, I'd almost put him ahead of Farrell on the depth chart as far as that goes. But Farrell's the one that signed the contract that says he gets a few games in the look. Yeah, and that won't be bad for him either. I mentioned something in a tweet there today. Like, he's sitting on the bench and he's watching 2 5'9" guys in RHP and Gallagher both score goals. Why did they score goals? They aren't fast skaters either of them. They're not elite skaters. Yeah, they bust their tails. Yeah, and it'll be a good lesson for him. Like, right up front, he's watching this and saying, okay, this is the commitment that I have to make. This is how hard I have to work, and if I do, I can be like them, and I can be a successful NHLer. And I think it'll be good for him in that regard. I do believe. I love Heineman's shot. He's got a major league shot, and Jean-François Hull earlier today on BPM Sports saying that he believes that Emil Heineman has a very high ceiling. Interesting comments there, because coaches, usually they're not going to go out on a limb like that to say, hey, very high ceiling for this player. But you know what? He hasn't had him for long, but he says very high ceiling. So we'll keep an eye on him. Hey, speaking of shot, Brendan Gallagher's shot has come back. Now, the first couple of games that he was back, I think he came back from that injury that he was out for a long time versus Colorado and Tampa, if memory serves me well. And I was like, poor guy. I mean, it's always hard to come back from injury. Yeah. It's hard, especially when you're older and you're breaking down a lot. And to add to that, he comes back versus 2 teams that skate like the wind and are unbelievable, right? And it's if you're not at 150%, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb for the wrong reasons, right? Yeah, he was behind the play. It's safe to say a little bit, But he found his rhythm. Yeah. And in the past 2 nights, he's got 2 goals. And if you take a look at the shots and the instincts on both goals, I mean, this guy has a gift. He knows how to score goals, and a lot of people are counting him out. Hey, look, a lot of nights I look at him too, and I'm like, there's very, very little gas left in this tank. I think we can all agree that he's going to have a hard time being in the top 6 next year. Might even find himself on a 4th line with Jake Evans. They seem to have chemistry. That contract's going to be hard to digest. But I have to tell you, man, am I happy for Gallagher, the past 2 games, because when he scored yesterday, it's almost like you can feel the weight of the world coming off of his shoulders, Yeah. I know I've noticed, and I tweeted out tonight, it looks like he's got snap back in his shot, and that was before he scored. The last 3 games, really, he showed that his shot, I don't think he's shot like that since, his first hand injury, after his second hand injury, and I don't know, it may have taken this long for for it to properly heal, where he could shoot like he used to be able to. Because for all of the goals that he got in the crease, and everyone would say, well, he gets all his goals within 5 feet. That's not true. Like when he was scoring 30 goals, he was scoring a lot with he had a good shot. He had a hard shot. He had a good shot.
Yeah.
And he lost that because of the hand injuries, I do believe, for 2 or 3 years there. And that was one of the big reasons why the production didn't return. But
Grant, if I can, to add to that, I think one of the things we saw was after those hand injuries, not only did he have less mustard on the shot, but it almost seemed like it took him like an extra second more, and those shots were just getting blocked and blocked and blocked. And now the release is faster again, and it's a beautiful thing what time and recovery can do. And look, I hope he continues to do it. I hope he continues to do it, man, because past couple of years haven't been easy for this guy. Like if he searches his name on Twitter, it's enough to put you in a pretty bad mood,
right up there with Drouin almost as a whipping boy, because of the contract and all. But he can still contribute a lot. Like he can still score 25 goals if his shot's back and he gets his confidence back, and he can keep building back his stamina. Because obviously he's still working on getting back into game shape. As I think I read somewhere where it was the most games that he has missed with all his injuries that he's had. That last injury that he had was actually the longest he had been out from any of them. So it'd take him a while to get his legs back.
It was, and I'm not just talking about the third goal for Philadelphia, which was the empty net goal. It was difficult for Mike Matheson tonight.
Yeah. But he'd been, extraordinary most nights in the last since he returned from his injury. So
he's been unbelievable. Even last night, he even put his body on the line. The way he's diving for pucks and sacrificing his body. He skates like the wind. He's up, he's down. He's playing 30 minutes a game. Look, it's only normal. You're gonna have a hiccup every now and then. Kaden Primo.
That's right. Yeah, no, like Jeff. No, once every 20 games is better than Petrie.
No, I agree with you 100%. Petrie, good riddance. The manager at Costco is very happy. Listen, Cayden Primo.
Yeah. He I think the biggest thing with him in his other, appearances in the NHL was he just seemed overwhelmed. He'd let in a goal and it would just kind of snowball on him. And tonight, thankfully, they kept him to, I don't know what it was, 24 shots, 26 shots.
27 in all.
27 shots, so 20,
One's an empty netter.
Right. So he had 24 saves,
Yeah.
So that's, they kept it, they didn't, unfortunately, in some other appearances that he's made, the team was not very good and didn't really help him out. So I thought, other than Matheson, the rest of the guys on defense were pretty solid tonight, and that was nice too. Like Philly wasn't by any means offensively dominant tonight, So that was kind of a nice for him to get that, and he's going to, he's going to be a waiver eligible next year, so they want to get a look at him down the line here. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a few games in and see, can he handle the NHL pressure? Because up until now, that's kind of been the question mark. He can be good in the AHL, then he gets called up and he looks like a deer in the headlights. So I hope he gets a few games down the stretch and he plays well, and then Laval makes the playoffs and he has another good playoff run and competes for a spot next year. Because I have a feeling.
Yeah,
if he goes on waivers at the end of camp next year, I'd be surprised if he's not snapped up by somebody.
I was happy for Primo tonight. Let me explain. A, I thought he played well. B, I agree with you. The other appearances that he had for the Canadiens, most of them seemed like he had stage fright or he just wasn't ready for the dance. Overwhelmed, the way you put it, I think is a good way to put it. Tonight, I thought he was comfortable. He looked like he wasn't rattled by the situation. He looked like he had control of the situation. Clearly, you'd have to think he was motivated going up against, the team that his father used to play for, or the organization that his father used to play for. But it was an audition for Kaden Primo tonight. An audition not only for the Montreal Canadiens and their future, but an audition for him and his future. That if it's not going to work out here, let me show other teams around the National Hockey League what I got. And tonight he was able to show other teams, especially the Philadelphia Flyers, who got a live look. And if I'm the Flyers and I too want to rebuild and I want to go with youth, and I'm not sure about my goaltending and I can always use some depth, I would take a flyer on a kid named Primo, who's like 6 foot 1,000. And you never know. You never know. Yeah. And to top it all off, there's talk of maybe trading Carter Hart and stuff like that, who, by the way, had a great game a couple of nights ago. You never know. Who knows if maybe Cayden Primo one day becomes a Philadelphia Flyer, either via trade or waivers or whatever.
No, that's a good point. And, maybe the Winnipeg Jets were watching too, right, Tony?
Maybe the Winnipeg Jets were watching too, eh?
Yeah.
So clearly we're talking about Pierre-Luc Dubois again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I haven't talked to you in a while. It's always fun when I do. So I haven't asked you your opinion yet. But, of course, we talked about it yesterday. Elliot Friedman saying, look, at 95%, Pierre-Luc Dubois is going to be a Montreal Canadien. His contract is up at the end of the year. He will be a restricted free agent. And, he wants to take a page out of, Patrick Kane's book, which is telling his team, hey, you know what? It's going to be the Canadiens. Or Adam Fox wanted to sign with the Rangers. In this, a trade was done for it to happen. A trade was done for Kane to happen. So now a lot of people are wondering, are the Canadiens going to end up making a trade with Winnipeg so that this can happen this summer instead of waiting for not this summer, but the summer after that? So would you take Pierre-Luc Dubois? And if so, at what salary? And if so, would you take him before he's an unrestricted free agent? And what would you give up to get him?
Yeah. Well, if there's 95% chance that he's going to sign with the Canadiens, I certainly wouldn't sell the farm, because
me neither.
Just wait. I don't know. Do they think they can contend next year? Dubois, maybe add another free agent. The rookies all get better. I think they still probably realistically think they're, another year away from really contending. So from that standpoint, it probably doesn't make sense either. It's a lot dependent on what Winnipeg, are they going to be looking for? Some of the, I heard it was on the radio.
Primo sent back down, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they need him in Laval, but
radio. What are you talking about? English radio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying like Gooley and the first rounder. I wouldn't even consider it.
That hold on a second. Somebody said on the radio that they would trade Gooley and a first rounder for Pierre-Luc Dubois.
That's what it would take, and blah blah blah. Pierre-Luc Dubois is a great player, and all.
Do you know who that
stuff.
somebody is, or?
No, I just caught the end. It's somebody named Mike. That's all I know. So, anyways, it was on Melnick, and he had somebody on named Mike. I don't know who it was.
Mike Johnson.
I just heard, and
Mike Johnson.
Okay, well, that's probably who it was. I didn't recognize the voice. Usually I do, but it sounds a little different on radio than TV.
Yeah.
But
I like Mike Johnson a lot. I think he's excellent at what he does.
Right.
But there's no way I would trade Kaden. No.
Well, that's it.
No. I would not do that. I would not do that.
I wouldn't trade Hudson. I wouldn't trade.
I'm actually surprised you said that. By the way, to tell you the truth.
Yes, I am too.
No, there's no way I would do that.
And I don't know that he necessarily said, "Oh, for sure I'd do that," but he said that would be what Winnipeg would want, and that if Montreal wanted to get him, that's what that'd be the price that they have to pay, right?
Yeah.
And if that being the case, no, I'm not. If a guy's going to 95% chance he's going to be with you next summer, why would you do that? It just doesn't make any sense.
You already traded a young stud defenseman in his first year in his National Hockey League career on a entry-level contract for a kid from here who wanted to come play here. Now, I'm not saying that Pierre-Luc Dubois is Jonathan Drouin because he's more established than Drouin. He's put up more points than Drouin, so he deserves that respect. But you know what? The Canadiens have a lot more players at the forward position in terms of depth than that resemble Dubois in terms of what they can bring in terms of production than they do have young defensemen that resemble Kaiden Guhle. Out of all the young defensemen, Kaiden Guhle is number one on the depth chart. Number one.
I agree. He's, first pairing left defenseman for the next decade versus a centerman that may not be more productive than Doc and Suzuki. So which has more value? It's not even close.
Who, by the way, might not even play center even if he comes here.
That's right, because you've got Doc and Suzuki.
Yeah, so, and maybe he does, and Doc plays the wing, but we've heard Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon on more than one occasion, even Marty St. Louis say, they see him, Kirby Doc, as a center.
Right.
But listen, I got to tell you, I don't understand the rush in all of this. I really don't. He's going to have another year contract. He's going to touch at least $7 million, right? You're still going to have Hoffman, who's going to be under contract next year. You're going to have Armia, who's going to be under contract. You're still going to have players who are going to be under contract, and then eventually, they'll be gone. You don't have to accelerate this much. Like,
right?
I don't get it. Maybe there's a push from the owner saying, guys, we needed a French star before. We need one now more than ever, guys. We need to sell more tickets. I don't know. I don't get the rush.
Yeah, Jeff's a pretty bright lad, and I think he would remember the Durant trade, and I don't think that he would push it again, just for the sake of getting a French Canadian quote unquote star.
Yeah.
And 61 points is Dubois' career high. And I looked at the stats. He was 9 points in his last 20 games, So he's not trending in the right direction right now, Like, I don't think his value is at an all-time high by any means. So, and also, Montreal holds the cards here as far as I'm concerned. Like, they can be, they don't have to be desperate about it. And I really don't think that Hughes is, and that they'll be patient with it. I guess some people think, well, if you don't make the move, then he'll go somewhere else, and maybe then he won't sign with Montreal. Well, that's not the end of the world either. Montreal is still going to be a contending team in 2 or 3 years with Pierre-Luc Dubois or without him. He'd be a nice piece to have, but
yeah, it'd be a nice piece to have.
But only if it's a fair price and less value than what he's worth, I think.
Winnipeg has no leverage here. Montreal are in the driver's seat. If the Canadiens give up a lot to Winnipeg, it's only because they want to play nice. They don't have to play nice. No. They don't have to. Friends is friends. Business is business.
Agreed.
All right. Okay. We're going to get to your calls, by the way, a little bit later on at 1-888-585-SICK, 1-888-585-7425. It is a toll-free number. Does it worry you that Pierre-Luc has already been on 2 teams, and he wanted out from the first and he wants out from the second?
A little bit, but hopefully Montreal is like, it seems to be that's where he wants to play. So, there's a possibility he could flourish there too, but I mean, I've seen he hasn't proven himself at playoff time. Really, he had a hat trick one time against Toronto, one game. But other than that, in junior, he underachieved.
By the way, I think he was like benched or scratched the night before, though. That was like a real big game for him.
Right.
Remember,
Sometimes it seems like he needs extra motivation.
Or he was called out from Tortorella. I forget the situation, but it was not good. And he bounced back, and that was a character performance by him. Hey, listen, Agnello and Sammy are telling me that there's a lot of questions for you. Okay? So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna sit back. I might even put my feet up. Okay, if Agnello and Sammy are okay with that. By the way, like I've never done this before, but Agnello and Sammy, can we bring him back for a second here or what? Let's bring him back. Agnello, Sammy, come back, man. What are you guys doing?
Agnello's camera shy. Oh, there he is.
Listen.
No, you can't put your feet up.
If I do that.
No, you can't put your feet up. No.
Oh.
No, it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good?
Not at all.
So for the look, for the brand, is that it?
Yeah, very bad for the brand.
Very bad?
Yeah.
You know that
have the same slippers there.
Oh God!
Wow, look at that.
A lot of questions for Grant.
A lot of questions for Grant?
Yeah, a lot of questions for Grant.
So if I keep the legs up and the feet up and stuff like that, am I fired or what?
You're probably going to get another 1-star rating, and then you're going to get upset.
No, I don't want a 1-star rating.
No,
I only want 5 stars on Google, Apple, and Spotify. Google, Apple, and Spotify. Leave us a 5-star podcast. It's my way of feeling the love. When I get the one, you believe some people would send me, it would leave me a 1-star if I would put my legs up or whatever, my feet up. What do you think of my velvet pants, by the way? The scarpines and everything? Yeah, the pantoufle. All right, okay, let's get to those questions. Agnello, let's do that for Grant. All right, fire away. Kev McCart, Grant, do you think Michkov will slip further down the rankings?
Do I think he'll get drafted later than, yeah, well, I mean, I think NHL teams are going to have their rankings that are different than the public rankings. I do believe that, he's going to be ranked top 3 on most lists, public lists that we see, but I have a sneaking suspicion that most NHL teams won't have him in their top 3 because he's got that contract and all the uncertainty that's going on in Russia.
Big Bill says Tony needs a gaming chair. Big Bill, I agree with you 100%. What can I tell you? Eventually, I'll get one here. Other questions for Grant. By the way, Grant, I know you don't agree with this, but should the Canadiens have, let's just say, pick number 5, and Michkov's there, I draft him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't watch young players as much as you do. You run an independent scouting service. You've seen all these kids many, many, many times. The only thing I can tell you, in the short amount of times I've seen the players, Michkov, for me, is the second best pure talent in the draft after Bedard. I could be wrong. You're the expert when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. Well, you draft these guys top 3, top 5 to win playoff games. And certainly if you draft Michkov, he's not helping you win any playoff games for at least 3 years.
You're not going to make the playoffs for the next 2 anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that either, but that's another story.
Well, Kent, you said it. I mean, unless he's
well, he can't predict. He doesn't. What he said, he's not making the playoffs in 2 years from now.
He told Pierre LeBrun. Pierre LeBrun said, "How much longer is this going to continue in terms of not making the playoffs and stuff like that?" And he said, 2 years, maybe 3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd like to have heard Marty's comments on that.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but maybe he's under promising, and
well, he can't predict. He can't predict the NHL standings. He's trying to keep the pressure off himself.
Yeah, I know you're right about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm just trying to make conversation here.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. More questions.
Yeah.
John Wayne, who is not The original real John Wayne, by the way. Grant, do you believe that in the medium to short term, Slafkowski becomes a legitimate winger on the top two lines?
And Yellow do the editing on these questions, or he's slipping behind on the. You know, he can't edit the spelling in these questions, I guess.
No, he can't. No, he can't.
Okay, that's 2 in a row there.
Why did you win a spelling bee once upon a time, or what?
Yeah, well, I'm a journalist, so you know.
You're a journalist. Okay.
I'm a little
right, okay.
I'm a little anal retentive when it comes to that.
Remind me never to play a game of Scrabble with you, my friend.
No, oh no, you get your butt kicked for sure, Tony.
Yeah, cards I'm good at. Scrabble, not really.
The question was, do I think he will become yes. I mean, legitimate, of course, you know. It could be as soon as next year. I figure he starts in the top 6 at training camp next year, and he wins a spot, and he's a top 6 guy starting next season from then on the rest of his career.
David Timmins says, stop with the insults for English radio. Why, Dave? I mean, I can do whatever I want. It's my podcast. But anyway, what insults did I say? I just said it's not what it used to be. I think that's a foregone conclusion. All right, okay. Next. Claude says, Tony, you're testy. I am. I told you. I'm on 4 ounces of meat at lunch, 4 ounces of meat at supper, and vegetables, and 4 liters of water. Yes, I'm testy. Yes. Bear with me. Please bear with me. Mario, I realize I'm testy. Even my wife said to me, what's wrong with you? Just bear with me, I said. Give me another week. Question for Grant. If you got the 2nd pick and you're Montreal with my 5th, 6th, or 7th pick, I would offer you my pick with Jordan Harris for your 2nd pick. Would you consider it?
Now, so would I consider it if I'm the other team, or if would I consider making that offer? I wasn't quite sure what.
All right. So you're the other team. You have pick number 2.
Okay.
I'm the Canadiens, and I have pick 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I offer you that pick and Jordan Harris for your 2nd.
Well, I mean, that's pretty specific, you know. I mean, it would depend on if the team needed a left defenseman, and you know, if Harris was a good fit and they thought he would be in their top 4, then sure, you'd consider it. But you know, what would you pass on Adam Fantilli? Adam Fantilli could be a 40-goal scoring center, your top line center. So no, you know, there's a reason why teams rarely move down from the top 2. It's because they think they're getting legitimate first-line players. And, you know, with the 7th pick and Jordan Harris, you're probably neither of them are going to be legitimate first-line players. You might luck out with the 6th, 7th pick, but the odds are that the top 2 guys are the cream of the crop, and Fantilli. No, if I'm the other team, I would probably pass on that unless you thought Harris was going to be a top 4 and you weren't as high on Fantilli as I am. But I think most teams are.
Yeah. Nicholas says, Grant, you seem like a nice guy, but it'd be beneficial if at some point you do your mea culpa on some previous hypothetical selections and said, I take player X over player Y, but I could be wrong. I want to answer if I can. Folks, the job of an amateur scout, in my opinion, is the hardest job of any hockey executive. I think it's harder than the job of a pro scout. I think it's harder than the job of a GM. I think it's harder than the job of an assistant GM. I think it's harder than the job of a coach. My opinion. Seeing a player right now, or seeing that player 3, 4, 5 times, putting him in a pool with other players in their age group, and trying to decide who's 1, who's 10, who's 20, who's 30, who's 40, who's 50, who's 100, who's 200, who's not drafted, and then Not only that, but changing it up and changing everything up, because as you look into your crystal ball and you have to decide who do you think is going to end up having a better NHL career, it might not necessarily reflect what you think now, and you might have to change everything up. At the end of the day, it is the hardest thing to do. And you know what I love about Grant? And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. He has his opinions, and he sticks with his convictions. He tells you what he thinks, and he's not afraid to be wrong. And I would rather that than somebody tell me, yeah, well, this guy, for this reason, I can see it. For that reason, I can't see it. This other guy, for that reason, I can see it. For that reason, I can't see it. And this other guy, I never liked that kind of radio. That's why the collaborators that I had on the air were not those kinds of collaborators. I like people with opinions. It stirs up conversation. People want to hear opinions. I have them myself. I'd rather be right more often than not. I know I'm not going to bat 1,000. It is what it is. I'd still rather have them. If you want, you can answer.
Thanks, Tony. Well, I mean, I have continued to defend Kotkaniemi. That goes without saying. I still think, he's second line center on a top team in the NHL. He's going to go to the playoffs for the fourth or fifth time. He scored the most important overtime goal in Montreal Canadiens since Eric Desjardins, probably. Beating the Leafs, like that 6th game, they were all over. It's 10. Yeah, he didn't work out with Montreal, but it's not like he didn't help out Montreal. It's still, you pick these guys to win a playoff time, and Kotkaniemi scored probably the most important, as far as I'm concerned, beating the Leafs was the most important playoff win since they won the cup. But I have said from the first year, and many times I've said Brady Tkachuk's a better player, and and I've even said in the last year that Brady Tkachuk is going to have a better career. So I don't know what else I can say. I mean, I could say I could come on here every time and apologize for it, or whatever. But
yeah,
I didn't make the pick, but I did rank him one spot ahead of Brady Tkachuk in my rankings. What I get a kick out of is that everybody, grant this, grant that, but the large majority of people that didn't want to take Kotkaniemi wanted Zadina, and now they look back and like they all, I told you that.
Now they all say that they told you Tkachuk or Quinn Hughes,
right?
Yeah,
and so all I can say is that yes, Brady Tkachuk is the better player, and yes, he's probably going to have a better career. I'd be shocked if he didn't at this point. Brady Tkachuk's a great player. He scored 8 goals in his draft year. Lots of NHL scouts had some concerns about his skating and his defense, and was he going to be as productive as he ended up being? Well, yes, he answered the bells on all those things, and he's like, I don't know that even the Senators, when they drafted him, could have expected him to be as good as he's been. He's been fantastic. So good for him. I love the kid a lot.
Yeah.
Like Brady Tkachuk, I see interviews with him all the time. The stuff he does with sick children and everything, and how he conducts himself in interviews and stuff. Yeah, he's a pain in the ass on the ice.
He's a leader. He's a leader. He's a real one. He's a gamer.
You don't like him. You don't like him because you're a Habs fan, but I think he's just a great kid.
So I'm gonna tell you this, okay? And this, right? Based on the little that I saw, I wanted them to draft Brady Tkachuk. I said that on the radio at the time that was the pick. Okay. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I will also tell you this: when Kotkaniemi got offer sheeted, it was too much money. Everybody knew that. But I said, if his next contract is a contract that's going to be a long-term deal and under $5 million, then I'll end up matching that offer sheet because I'll take Kotkaniemi on my team long-term under $5 million. And he ended up signing long-term with the Hurricanes under $5 million. And I don't think that's a mistake. I don't. Okay. So
top two center. Like he's going to be, you're going to see a progression of his point totals here. Like he'll be up over 50 points probably the end of next year. Top two center for, the salary cap keeps going up. It's going to be up over $4 million, the average salary soon enough.
Yeah.
And you top two center for $4.5? No. They at the end of the day, they made it, Montreal, Bergevin made the wrong decision, I thought. And that hasn't changed. I haven't changed that feeling. And looking back at that draft, we talked about it. And I got on the air with you and is he going to be a center? Because that's what they need is a center,
Yeah.
You look at the centers in that draft and there's nobody else that Kotkaniemi is the best center from that draft class. Is he a great one? No. Is he, is he going to be a number one center? Probably not.
There's him. There was Hayton. There was Joe Veleno. Correct me if I'm wrong. There were. Who else was there that I'm forgetting right now?
Yeah, it wasn't a great center draft. Like, unfortunately, the two times that Montreal's had top three picks, where they were starving for that center, it was poor center drafts.
Grant, you and I know what happened. Marc Bergevin was trying to trade for a center. He wasn't able to pull it off. Trevor Timmins felt the pressure of wanting to help out his general manager. So he identified who he thought was the best center in the Galchenyuk draft and the best center in the Kotkaniemi draft, and he drafted them. The Canadiens who have said for the longest time that they draft the best player available. In a couple of drafts, they drafted by need. That was Galchenyuk, and that was Kotkaniemi, and they got it wrong. And
well, again, Tony, I don't know about that. I really think that they thought that Kotkaniemi would be the best player. I honestly, we can disagree on that, but
no. You're probably
there were other teams that had him really high. It wasn't like only Montreal reached here. It was, Mackenzie's last list had him top 5. I talked to one, scout that his team had him, believe it or not, 2 on their list. And again, Tkachuk had 8 goals in his draft year, Tony.
I hear you.
Like everybody talks like, oh, we knew that, there was concern that he wouldn't be, I hear you. An offensive player that he's turned out to be.
And
he went from 8 goals. He went from 8 goals in college to an NHL rookie where he scored 25. Well, how often does that happen? Like maybe never. So he's overachieved. And, no, the NHL teams didn't all have Brady Tkachuk 3rd overall. In fact, I don't know that there were many, to be honest with you. So I know, it seems like we can, every team had Brady Tkachuk 3rd. And if they'd have drafted 3rd, they'd have taken Brady Tkachuk. I honestly, I have connections with a lot of NHL teams, a lot of scouts, and that was not the prevailing opinion, So they took I agree with you on Galchenyuk, that they, but that was a bad draft too.
It wasn't a great. Well, Morgan Riley was at 5, and I think Philip Forsberg was at 11 or something.
And Galchenyuk had scored something like 100 points as a 16-year-old, and then he hurt his knee.
Yeah, ACL,
and he only saw him a few games, and I'll give Trevor credit for that. He was never he had balls, like he took, like when he took Carey Price 5th overall.
Yeah.
Like remember the reaction of Pierre Maguire and this is off the reservation.
Yeah.
Just how can you do that? He's got Theodore, he's got Halak, like da. Well, Trevor didn't always follow.
Cristobal Huet, Jan Danis.
Yeah.
I think he mentioned Jan Danis too.
Because Carey Price, he thought was going to be better than all of them, and he was right. You know,
Yeah,
he,
no, he was
carried
right.
carried the
Yeah.
franchise. So, you know, I mean,
you wonder what would have happened if they would have drafted Kopitar. But I listen. He drafted. He drafted the guy. He drafted the guy who ended up being the best goalie in hockey for a long time. It's not
again, Tony. You know, like that's revisionist, and nobody saw Kopitar. He played in Slovenia. You know,
Yeah.
So 10 teams passed on him because there was that unknown. Yeah, he looked great at one world under 18 tournament. Well, so did Kotkaniemi.
Yeah,
Kotkaniemi outplayed Jack Hughes and won a gold medal at the under 18s. You know, he was fantastic there. So, you know, we always look back and in hindsight and, well, you know, this and that. Well, you know, NHL teams make their lists and a lot of teams had guys, you know, like Kopitar. It's easy to say we should have taken him at 5, but he didn't even go top 10.
No,
you
he
know?
went 11th. Hey, Grant, don't get me wrong. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I think Trevor Timmins was given a really rough ride here. And if you take a look at what the Canadiens have now, okay, Cayden Primeau's who?
Yeah, I know you always talk about, you know, like
he's Trevor Timmins. They
should get a few top 5 picks in a row type thing. And while they haven't done that, I think Guhle could be a top 5 player from his draft class, or at least top 10. I think Caulfield could be a top 5. You know, he should have been drafted top 5.
Yeah.
So that's as good as, you know, which is better, having a top 5 pick or drafting a player who is top 5 in his draft class? Well, they did that. That's the most important thing. You know, it's not where you draft, it's who you draft.
Look, I'm going to tell you something. Logan Mailloux, 31.
Another one.
That could end up being a steal by Trevor Timmins.
He could be top 5 from his draft class. They traded for Suzuki. He could be top 5 from his draft class. They traded for Doc. He could be top 5 from his draft class. Slavkovsky, he can be top 5 from his draft.
No, I hear you, but I want to get to a couple of Trevor Timmins picks if I can, okay?
Okay.
Logan Mailloux, Riley Kidney, Oliver Kapanen, and Joshua Roy could all have a future with the Montreal Canadiens.
Absolutely.
Caden Guhle is a stud. Sean Farrell is a 4th-round pick, 124th overall. Jakub Dobeš was drafted 136th overall in the 5th round. Cole Caulfield was drafted 15th. Struble was drafted 46th. Raphael Harvey Pinard was a 7th-round pick at 201.
Yeah. Jordan Harris.
Jesse Ylonen is starting to look like an NHLer, if you ask me. I don't know what the ceiling is, but he's an NHLer for sure.
Romanov got them Doc.
Romanov essentially got them Doc. Sergachev was a great pick. It's not his fault that they traded Sergachev. I'm sure he didn't want Sergachev to be traded.
Yeah. Like the last, you know, there was a stretch, and, you know, he'll be the first to admit it that the first-round picks didn't turn out so well. But, you know, these last few drafts were good. And we're starting to see that. It's funny, you know, the new management seems to be a lot more receptive to signing, you know, draft picks that Timmins made than Bergevin was, you know.
Yeah.
Like I look back at the 2016 or 17, there was like hardly any, you know, they made 11 picks and they only signed like 3. And they've already signed 5 or, you know, out of the Farrell draft now.
Gallagher was a 5th-round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, and that year, of course, where he drafted McDonough 12, Pacioretty 22, and Subban 43, that's his best ever draft. That was fabulous. Listen, here's the deal. When they drafted by position, it was Galchenyuk and Kotkaniemi. But you said they probably drafted Kotkaniemi because they thought he was the best player. That's okay. When they drafted by size, they drafted Tenorti and McCarron. Those were 2 mistakes by drafting by size and not the best player. And you know, the draft of Louis LeBlanc, I don't think that one was on Trevor. I think, you know, Trevor was either A, told, or B, you know, looked at everyone and everyone said, you got to draft the kid that everyone's chanting his name. And look, there were other hiccups. I mean, Danny Cristo and Fisher was a hiccup, obviously, because you could have had Giroux, and there were some hiccups. But I think Trevor Timmins was given a real rough ride. I think his work was better than a lot of people think.
Yeah, and I think what we'll see over the next few years is proof of that as these guys keep coming in and they keep prospering. Like Joshua Waugh.
Yeah.
Jeez, what a pick.
Yeah.
In the 5th round.
And Grant, they had no onus on development back then. They thought player development was bringing in a skills coach a couple of times a year to show them how to do a wrist shot and stuff like that, not having somebody work with the farm club and the big club every day, and having the coaches work with the players on it too every day, and having a specific plan for each individual player. That's what they have now. And I'm convinced in that famous debate of, do the Canadiens draft badly or do they develop players badly, back when Trevor Timmins was the scout of the Canadiens? I'm convinced, I was back then and I still am now, that the development was a bigger problem than the scouting. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, I think for whatever reasons, there was a disconnect between, who they drafted, the coaching staff and the management, and who they draft and the scouting. Like, it seemed like they didn't give drafted players proper opportunity at times. They'd either not sign guys, or they'd end up giving contracts to undrafted Quebec leaguers, instead of kids that were top 4-round draft picks. And you're going to win with talent, and you get that in the draft, and you have to develop, and you have to embrace it, and you have to develop it. And it seemed like, Trevor draft players, and they go to the farm team, and the coach wouldn't play him. Like Josh Brook was a good example. He was maybe the second best power play defenseman in the WHL, and he goes to Laval and he never gets a sniff on the power play. And I asked Joel Bouchard about it, like, why are you playing Xavier Ouellet on the power play when he's not, you're supposed to be developing players to play in the NHL. He's not going to be a power play guy in the NHL. He's 27 years old. He's never scored more than 30 points as a pro. And, Josh Brook's not a power play guy. And he determined that from practices all the time. Never given him an opportunity to play on the power play. Like, I saw him run Moose Jaw's power play and set up guys like left and right. He never got the opportunity. He was a top 50 or top 60 pick for that reason, but then doesn't get that opportunity. And eventually he's sticking him up on the wing, not even playing him in the top 6 on defense. And they've got 5 or 6 guys that were, I don't know. Like, they were never going to play in the NHL, that were career minor leaguer journeymen playing instead of Brook. Well, his job is to first and foremost was to develop, draft picks. That's a job of an AHL coach, and it just seemed like there was disconnect there. Sherback, he goes down to the AHL. He's just a dynamic on the power play, setting up plays left and right to start the season. He gets called up to Montreal. And what does Claude do? He sits him in the stands for 5 games. Then he brings him in and puts him with 4th liners, never puts him on the power play, even though, he'd put, Byron Frazee on the power play instead of this kid that was the best power play guy in the AHL earlier in the year. And then just, never give he doesn't win puck battles along the boards. Well, you had the worst power play in the NHL. And here's the kid that was the best power play, at the early season in
Sherback
the AHL.
had a lot of talent, and I thought it was going to translate to the National Hockey League, and it didn't. But Grant, Sherback, heart, not much.
Right. But also, he was an offensive guy, but he never got. Stick him on the fourth line 5 minutes a night, Tony, and not on the power play. Like, at least give these guys opportunities to do what they do best.
I hear you. And you need a little bit. You need a little bit of luck too, right? Sherback drafted, I think, 26th, one pick after David Pastrnak of the Boston Bruins. Imagine the Bruins take Sherback and Pastrnak falls to the Canadiens. We're having a different conversation today, but it is what it is, you know? Hey, listen.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny. I talked to Trevor last week, actually, about it. The Swedish scout, he said.
Where'd you see him at the rink? The rink in Ottawa? Or?
Yeah. We were talking on the phone. And he said that the Swedish scout, just like he just absolutely loved Pastrnak. Like, that was their guy. You know, it was just, there wasn't a question about it. They were just, you know, hoping that he would drop that one more spot and they grab him, you know. And there's a lot of instances of that where, and again, 1 year, the 2 years actually, when Trevor was, when they traded for Alex Tanguay, that draft.
Yeah.
John Carlson was his guy all day long, like that, where they were picking in the draft.
They didn't have a pick after, because I think in that draft after
they traded their pick and the second rounder.
Yeah.
But where they picked, Carlson was hit, like it dropped to, you know, that was his guy. Wow. And then they trade McDonough, right? And then
I'm sure he didn't want to trade McDonough either.
When they picked up Andrew Shaw for 2 second round, remember they had 2 second round picks around 40.
Yeah.
You know Gerard? who he liked in the first round, and who would have been guaranteed would have been one of those picks? Adam Fox.
Wow.
So, you know, the last decade and a half with McDonough, with Carlson.
When they traded Andrew Shaw, I think that was the Samuel Girard draft too, right?
But they would have taken Adam Fox.
No, first round, but they probably would have taken Girard in the second.
Well, no, they picked at 39 and 40 or whatever.
Okay. Got it.
They would have taken Fox over Girard. And I mean, with good reason. He won a friggin' Norris Trophy, you know.
Wow. Hey, listen, I've kept you on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel pretty badly about this. I'm going to feel even worse now to ask you a question. You have a little bit more gas left in the tank here?
Oh, sure.
Okay, because this is what we're going to do. We're going to do something special for You Called. Let's get to it.
You Called. Presented by Playground.
Brought to you by Playground. Major poker festivals are back at Playground. The March Million features 10 ring events and $1 million in guaranteed prize pools, including a $400,000 guaranteed main event. Play in Playground's March Million Poker Series from March 23rd to April 2nd. Visit playground.ca for details. So we're going to do. We usually take calls after the game. You have no idea how many people want to ask you questions. So we're going to continue with the questions instead. Agnello and Sammy, I want to do this as quickly as possible for Grant here because, hey, we're on 75 minutes here. Let's do 10 questions, and let's have Grant answer them in less than a minute. So, Max, we're on for 10 more minutes. Bring up 10 questions. Go. Johnny Golden, Grant, assuming Bedard and Fantilli go 1-2. You're laughing because of the way you spelled Bedard. I know you are. Assuming Bedard and Fantilli go 1-2 and Montreal picks third, who do you take at 3? Can I write down a name before you answer?
Yeah, sure. Wow. Well, they're not going to be drafting third, Tony. So this is, you know, how could they be drafting third? They're not going to draft third, Tony.
Where are they going to draft?
Like they either win the lottery and get the first and second pick, or they're pick 5, 6, 7.
That's right, or 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't spent a lot of time pondering who they would be picking at 3.
Yeah, but if they would pick 3, who would you pick?
Oof, boy. Daniel Boot.
Really?
Tony, that guy is something else. He's the riser. Yeah, I knew you'd say that. Yeah.
It was either him or Quentin Musty.
Yeah.
Could you please
Siri went off. I'm sorry. I didn't quite catch that. Can you please say that again? Siri, I thought you would say Quentin Musty.
Could you please say that again?
Siri, I thought you said Quentin Musty.
I don't know what that means. If you like, I can switch to one for it. Siri, I thought you said Quentin Musty.
I said Quentin Musty. The Canadiens are going to draft him.
That's not Siri's not Simon the Snake Boisvert, is it?
Siri, who does Simon the Snake Boisvert say the Canadiens are going to draft?
Yeah. Hey,
Siri.
But seriously, Tony?
She's here. Siri, who does Simon the Snake Boisvert say the Canadiens are going to draft?
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Sure, I can try again. Simon the Snake Boisvert. He says the Canadiens will draft. Found some YouTube of Simon the Snake Boisvert. Siri, would you draft Quentin Musty?
I don't have an answer for that.
Siri doesn't have an answer.
Siri's pretty smart. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Question number 2 out of 10. Let's go. Texas. I've heard Grant mention he doesn't love Will Smith. Would he be interested in hearing the concerns? Would be interested in hearing the concerns about his game. All right. Talk to me about Will Smith.
His play away from the puck is concerning. He doesn't seem to be interested in going back into his own zone, and he hangs out by the other team's blue line just about all the time, and that's highly concerning for a center, especially because you get to the NHL level and you're doing that, you're not going to be a center. You're going to be put on the wing. If you want to stand on the blue line, well, then you're going to be doing that as a winger. And so, he's under 6 feet. He's not overly competitive, and he's got very big concerns about his competitiveness and defensive games. So it's for those reasons that I don't see him being a top 2 center at the NHL level. And I don't, I wouldn't be taking him in the top 5 and probably not in the top 10. So I don't think he's the ideal pick for the Canadiens.
Question 3. According to Brian Wild, Habs are high on Dvorsky. I'm not so sure I heard Brian say that. I think Brian said the Canadiens are high on Will Smith, as a matter of fact. But anyway, Grant, what do you think of Dvorsky? Yeah,
I'm a lot higher on Dvorsky than most people, and I like him more than Will Smith as well. He is the best defensive center in this draft for sure. He'd be a replacement for Phil Deneau. That it's funny how good LA got once they got Deneau, and how bad Montreal got, once he left. And I wonder if maybe we undervalued just how important it is to have that shutdown center. Dvorsky went to the World Juniors at 17 and a half and was tasked with playing center against Logan Cooley, Bedard's line, and he shut them down for the most part. He was fantastic. They had a couple of upsets and came within an overtime goal. In fact, I thought they were going to win against Canada with him playing a first-line center role at 17 and a half. That's rare. People, have voiced concerns about his offensive upside, but, he scored a goal a game at the junior level this year. And again, at 17 and a half years of age, He was the second highest scorer at the Hlinka Gretzky as a 16-year-old when he played in it 2 years ago. So certainly whenever he's played against his peers, he showed that he's got plenty of offensive upside. He's got a great shot. Ultra competitive, big kid, just an all-round solid centerman that, I've seen comparisons with Shen, with O'Reilly. I even reminds me a little bit of Bergeron. So, I mean, you get a centerman that help you win playoff games, that's a safe pick, that smart and is competitive and is physical as he is. I don't think you can go wrong with that pick. NHL teams like to, as much as you like to go for the home run, when you're picking in the top 10, you want to make sure that you get a guy that doesn't underachieve. You don't want a Galchenyuk. You want someone that, at the very least, is a top 2 center, and I think that's at the very least that's what you're going to get with Dvorsky. So I like that pick for the Canadiens if they're picking 5, 6, 7 for sure. Yeah. For sure.
I you know what, I said 10 questions, but let's make it 5. Okay, so 2 more here. 2 more. All right, very quickly. Grant, why in the world have scouts and NHL teams not fought to make the draft age 20 instead of 18? For me, it's a no-brainer. Should they trade the draft age? Should they change the draft age to 20?
I've thought about that before. Maybe 19.
Yeah.
You compromise and split. It's different than NFL in that kids are ready a little sooner physically to play at the NHL level. Like there's kids, then we wouldn't have got to see McDavid as an 18-year-old in the NHL, or Matthews or McKinnon, or all of these guys that had great seasons before they ever turned 20. So there's different arguments for that. I think it's hard, at this point, because they're 18. It's kind of hard to change it, to get it changed back. Like you have the lawsuits and all that, that would ensue. So certainly, it's got its pros and cons, and I can see both sides of it.
Last one, because I think 66 Spinning, who is Sebastien from Quebec City, I think he actually wants to give me a call at 1-888-585-7425. If he calls, I'll take it. If he doesn't call, I'm not taking it. This is the last question. No, hold on a second. Okay, Tony and Grant, Habs need to draft a goalie, right? Grant, are they looking at a goalie? Is there a good goalie?
Yeah, there's 2 that could go in the first round, but, depending on where Florida ends up, I guess. Are they top 15 worthy? Maybe. Bjornsson and Hrabal are both, premium goaltenders, and certainly from a need standpoint, I think that he's definitely in the mix with the Florida pick. I also think that they will highly consider taking David Reinbacher with the top pick. Tony, he's Austrian defenseman. No holes in his game. He's solid. He's going to be. He played in the Swiss League this year and was minute muncher, top pairing defenseman at his age. He's the top defenseman in this draft. He's a right defenseman. There's that need with the Canadiens, and I really think that they're going to highly consider him if they pick 5 to 7 as well.
Thank you so very much. Agnello, Grant did overtime tonight. You make sure he's paid accordingly. Grant, I know Agnello and Sammy really appreciate everything you do for the podcast. Thanks so much. Why don't you support Grant, folks? It's really worth it. Recruits and recruits.ca. You pick up a subscription there. It'll cost you really like less than a couple of sandwiches. What's their subscription going for, Grant?
Yeah, I think it's like $20 or something like that for a year. If you get a draft subscription, you get the draft guide, and basically you get free draft coverage on top of that. You pay for the draft guide and you get free draft coverage for a year.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Prices are pretty reasonable.
You really do it for the love of the game, eh? Thanks, man, for everything you do, not only for the podcast, but also for the game of hockey. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tony.
All right, there you have it. Grant McCagg of Recruits and Recruits.ca. Agnello and Sammy, come up here. Agnello and Sammy, come up.
Yes.
What's going on?
Nothing much. You?
Are you ready to go to bed?
About half an hour ago, maybe.
About half an hour ago? Have you seen how many people we have watching on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitter Live?
700
and the questions and the engagement?
Yeah, it was great tonight. We have a lot of questions still.
It was great. Just tonight. It was great.
Every night. But Grant's awesome.
Listen, let's go overtime.
We are overtime.
Let's go even more overtime.
Go to bed, man. You got to fix your back.
Hold on a second. But how about Stéphane? I think I called him Sébastien a second ago. If Stéphane from Quebec City calls you 66 spinning right now.
Yeah, he didn't call, but he didn't call.
He didn't call?
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Okay, let's wait 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I'm going to make you this deal. We'll wait 30 seconds.
25.
No, stop. Stop. If Stéphane from Quebec City, known as 66 spinning, calls 1-888-585-7425. That's 1-888-585-7425. If he calls in the next 60 seconds, we take his call. If he doesn't, we say goodnight. Okay?
I think if we take the call, I'm going to give him your personal cell number. And he can call you whenever you want every day.
I'm going to give your personal cell number out pretty soon.
Hold on.
610-1062. That's him?
I'm not sure.
Hold on a second. Take the call. I got to go pee. I'll be back in 10 seconds.
No, it's not him. There's no call right now.
What do you mean there's no call?
There's no call right
He's calling. 100% he's calling.
No, I don't see anybody calling. So.
Okay, 60 seconds.
If he takes the call, you can't go to the bathroom.
Okay, well, I'll ask him if I can go to the bathroom if he calls. So Stéphane in Quebec City has 60 seconds to call. 1-888-585-7425. Start. He's got 60 seconds. I say he calls in the next 60 seconds.
Well, he's not calling right now. Now 60 seconds. You went from 30 to 60 after the 30 was over. So how does that make sense?
Euros.
Oh, euros. Oh, okay, I didn't know.
Oh, somebody says we got to give him 66 seconds because he's 66 spinning.
Yeah, he's at 66 already.
Is Stéphane going to call in from Quebec City, 66 spinning?
No, he didn't call.
Or is he going to let down an entire sick army that's waiting for him to call?
No, he didn't call.
You took the phone off the hook, eh?
No.
Hold on a second.
I have a surprise for you. You want to see it?
No. We got to reset. We got to start back and go 66.
I have a surprise for you.
What's the surprise?
Hold on.
Hey, hold on a second.
Hold on.
He said that he's trying to call.
No, look, I have a surprise for you. Watch.
Yeah.
Look. Hi, Grant.
Hey.
What's this all about?
Sick podcast. Hello? Who's this? Hello?
And now he's pretending nobody's there. Hello, look.
1 minute, okay? 1 minute. Hold on.
Who's that? Who is it?
The only person that calls you.
Hold on a second. Hello, who's this? Hello?
Oh, he might have Is there? He might have hanged up.
Not the same guy that was on.
No.
But why'd you bring back Grant? The poor guy wants to go to sleep. Grant, why did he bring you back for?
I don't know. Because I didn't leave.
You want to get to bed, huh?
No, this is great, Tony.
Yeah. Agnello, who do we have here?
I don't know. We keep losing the line. I don't know what it is.
But do you not pay your phone bills, or what in the world's going on with you?
It's him. You don't hear him that well. I think he's cutting off all the time.
He's not cutting off. He's in Quebec. He's not in he's not in Bora Bora.
No, he's not coming through.
He's not coming through.
No.
You can't do this. You're really on it. You cannot do this. What's the damn number? Justin says 1-888-585-7425. See what he says? Les gars raccroche. He says you're hanging up on him.
Hanging up. I don't know what it is.
You don't know what it is. Look. All right. So now you're back.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get this call. I'm confident we're going to be able to get to this call. I am. I'm confident. Stefan, this is my guy, Stefan. You're playing 66 spinning. Are you playing with us or what? I'm dying to find out what's going on with Agnello and Sammy right now. I'm dying to find out. I can't believe he brought you back.
Hey, I never left, Tony.
My God. 66 spinning will hit the jackpot and speak to us live. This coming in from John Wayne. This is 6, says PK. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Who's this?
Stéphane.
Hey, Stéphane, comment ça va, mon chum?
C'est Tony. Salut, Tony. Comment ça va?
Ben oui, ça va bien, toi?
Number one.
Hey, I'm so happy to talk to you tonight, my friend.
Yeah.
Hey, say hello. Say hello to
with Grant tonight.
Yeah. Say hello to Grant tonight. Say hello to Grant.
Hello, Grant.
Hello.
Did you move your hand tonight, Grant? I don't see your arm move tonight.
Grant, move your arms. He says you didn't move your arms tonight.
Sorry about that.
He moved his arms for you, Stefan. He moved them.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Stefan.
It's the first time since 9. No, 10. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, Stefan, you know why I brought you on, eh? Because ever since you came on last week, everyone's asking about you.
I saw that on the chat.
My friend, hey, I have a buddy, Frank Consolo. He even follows me on Facebook. He sends me messages every day asking about you.
No. It's a
this
joke.
whole sick army that we have built a community here. We're stronger than any other Habs community in the world in terms of radio, television, podcasting. This is the one. We're going to get together sometime soon. I've already talked about it with Agnello. I want to do it sometime in the month of June when the weather's going to cooperate. Right before the draft, I want to do it.
After you lost 25 pounds and at the same time?
You're right about that.
Celebrate it?
Correct. I'm not going out until I lose at least 25 pounds.
Okay.
Especially since everyone knows my weight now, because when I was with Jean-Charles on the radio on BPM Sport a couple of days ago, and we did our weigh-in. We did the weigh-in.
Yes.
A couple of days ago. It was yesterday. I told his son, Charlie, not to record when I got on the scale. And he did. And everyone saw. People are stopping my wife at the...
broke a table last week.
Yeah, he broke a table. He sat on a table and it broke. Yeah, it broke. And so now, people are asking my wife, saying, did your husband really give out his weight on social media? She said, well, he did. 271.2 pounds I weighed in on Monday. 271.2. Jean-Charles came in at 258.4.
How tall are you, Tony? 6'7"?
I wish I was 7'5". I'm like 5'9.5". And you know what? I think I need to go down to, everyone says I'll be good at 220, whatever. in my ideal world, I'd like to go to 190.
Well, yes, it's very good.
I think it's a lot of people.
You
66.
remember, Tony, that I said to you last week that the first time I saw you, it was at 110% EQS, but
yes,
it was the same time I saw Jean-Charles.
Yes.
There's where you meet him for the first time professionally?
I met him for the first time at l'Attaque à 5. I think it was in 2010. I'm not sure if we were on 110% together or it was l'Attaque à 5, but I think it may have been l'Attaque à 5.
Okay. L'Attaque à 5 was at Radio-Canada or TQS?
It was at TQS.
Okay. At TQS too. Okay.
Yeah. 110% and l'Attaque à 5 back then was the best thing on television with the exception of Bleu Nuit.
For sure.
Grant.
Yeah.
Everybody could see some extract or some des extraits là.
Hold on a second.
On YouTube. You are on YouTube in 2000 at that 110% Tony.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Stefan, hold on 1 second. Grant.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this is going to turn out to be quite the conversation here. I want to thank you. I want you to get to bed because I feel guilty about this. Okay. So Agnello and Sammy, everyone, the whole sick army, the whole sick community, we say good night to Grant McCagg. Okay. Good night, Grant. Okay.
Good night, Tony.
All right. Let's keep Stefan. Okay. Stefan.
Thanks, Grant, for moving your hand for me.
Yes, he moved his hand. Hey, Stefan, one more time. Okay. I want you, you're probably looking right now. You're what? Okay. I've been drinking this all day. Okay. Okay. Watch, you see?
Yes. Oh boy.
Nature calls. I have to go to the men's room for 30 seconds. Okay.
Okay.
During this time, and we're going to pick up this conversation with you when I come back. Okay. During this time, there's people that are listening to you for the first time. They probably didn't hear you when you called in a couple of weeks ago. Okay.
Okay.
Can you introduce yourself to them again so they know who I'm talking to? And I'll be back after doing what I absolutely need to do because I want to have a good conversation with you coming up. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You can go quietly, Tony. Let's go. Okay. Tony is gone. On the chat, I want to Jean-Maurice, Cuckoo69 to entertainer the chatter. Okay, guys, you can chat and entertain the other guys. On the podcast, at the TV, on Facebook, on Twitter, I don't know where this podcast is cast. So, everybody, we have a very good night tonight with Grant, who spoke to us about the next draft and his experience in draft in the last years. So, do you think we need to draft a forward defenseman? I think we have enough defensemen for the Canadiens. In my mind, we need more goalies on the organization. Montembeault is not a bad goalies. Allen will be a second for maybe 1 year or 2 years, but the playoff and the cup. We won the playoff and the cup with a good goalies, and we don't have the future of a good goalies in the organization. So we need to. Oh boy, what is this?
Stefan, I'm back.
It is a mix of Lepage glue and vinegar.
No, that is it's a natural conditioner.
I know it is your barber who sells this gallon to you.
Yes, I used to call him a barber. He wants me to be called his hairstylist. My hairstylist. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He looks like a very good guy.
A very good guy. I associate with very, very good people. Okay.
Okay.
So now,
and your barber, it's me who chat. He's look like Marc Dupré.
He looks like Marc Dupré. His name is Joey Scalzo.
Okay.
Joey the barber from Moxie Coiffure on Newman Street in Ville La Salle, in between Lapierre and Thierry. And hopefully,
is it your regular barber?
I go to him all the time, and hopefully this endorsement will get me a haircut for life. If it doesn't, it's okay. I'm happy to support. Good guy. Hey, he came to my house at around 10 o'clock at night while the podcast was going on to cut my hair when the salon probably closed at like 6 or 7 that night. Who does that? He could have been home with his family. No, he came. Good guy. Good guy.
Yeah. And he doesn't disturb you in the podcast. He make it very easy.
He didn't disturb me at all. It's like he wasn't even there. As a matter of fact, every now and then he chimed in. It was like I had myself a real good co-host. He talked about his story when he met Wayne Gretzky. Huh? He met him at the Bonaparte Hotel in Old Montreal, which, by the way, owned by, two very good friends of mine. Gigi Malati and Silvio Sicoli. Will give them a plug too. Why not? Hopefully it gets me a stay there one weekend or a meal at the Bonaparte this summer. Old Montreal. By the way, they own several hotels in Old Montreal. If you ever come to Montreal and you want to stay at a hotel, you send me a note. I'll fix you up. I'll tell them to take care of you.
It is okay.
Now,
last time I talked with you, you talked to me about your friend who was called a double shift, your best player with
double shift. Yes,
and
you have a good memory.
We saw. I don't remember his name, but we saw him last Friday. Then when you replaced your co-podcaster.
Yes. That's Peter from Côte Saint Luc.
Yes. A very good guy.
You know what? I would try and call him right now, but it's 11:43. But he told me that he stays up usually until about midnight. You know what? What's the worst that can happen? I can get his voicemail. Let me call him.
Yeah,
look at this. Fine. Hold on a second. He called me actually at 10:28 p.m. He probably did. So if he was up an hour ago, an hour 15. Let's try. What's the worst that can happen? Hold on a second here. Hold on. It's really late.
Hello?
Peter!
Tony, how are you, my friend?
Peter, I'm so sorry to call you this late. It's just that...
that's quite okay.
No, listen to me carefully, Peter. I'm live on my podcast right now, okay? And everyone is listening to you. All of Montreal and all Canadiens fans around the world are listening to you right now on my podcast, okay? And I have a gentleman, Stéphane from Quebec City, who would love to really meet you. Can we do this? Can you take down a number to call right now, and I'll see if I can get you on, and I'll put you and Stéphane on together?
Let me take a pen, okay?
Yeah, take a pen, please. Yes.
Bear with me.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Stéphane, just bear with us, okay? We're going to try and get Peter to call us right now, okay?
Yes.
If not, maybe I could even ask Agnello and Sammy to give Peter a call, but I don't know the way our telephone system works. It's I haven't taken the course yet, the training. Tonight's one of those nights, folks, by the way. Eh? Okay, Peter, the number to call, it's toll free, so don't worry about it. It's 1-888 585 7425. I repeat, 1-888 585-7425. Okay, so hang up with me right now. Call that number, and then Yellow and Sammy are going to patch you through.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to do it right now.
Please do so. Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you. You're welcome, Peter. There you go. Peter, who told me he's a night owl. He told me. Now, the only thing I'm wondering is if we can get both of you guys on at the same time, which I'm afraid that we might not be able to. Hold on a second. Don't tell me.
All right. We need to, our producer need to work hard.
Okay. This is what we can do, okay? I've been told by Sammy and Yellow that what we can do is we can have one call on at the same time, but we can do two videos. If I give you the link, can you come on camera?
Me?
Yeah. If I give you the link right now, can you click on the link and come on the camera? Would you like to be seen, or would you rather not be seen?
I'm not just on underwear in Pierre-Cardin. I'm in olive in Pierre-Cardin.
You're in Pierre-Cardin right now.
My pants is Pierre-Cardin, but my upside is Pierre-Cardin too.
Oh, you have Pierre-Cardin pants and a top. So you'd rather not because you're not dressed for the occasion. Is that it?
Right.
Okay. So you know what we're going to do then?
But I think, Peter, the last time it was on video.
No. Peter does not have that. He does.
I think, maybe it was. No.
I was an interview that I did.
Okay. Okay.
So how about you do this so we can have a conversation? I have an idea, okay? I really want you and Peter to meet. See, in a previous life, this is what I do, okay? I get people together. This was passed on to me from my grandfather, okay? My grandfather would match couples together, would make people meet, stuff like that. He actually made a lot of people happy, and he made a lot of people sad. I think I have this gift of bringing people together. I'd like to bring you and Peter together. Why don't we do this? Listen to me carefully, okay? Yeah. I'm going to give you the link for the video. You're going to put it on, but you can make your camera look the other way. You can turn the lights off. I don't have to see you.
Okay.
But this way we can pull it off. You want to do that?
Okay.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, I try.
Okay, you're going to try. Okay, hold on 1 second here. We need to get you the link. Now, the big question for me is, how am I going to get you this link?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm going to put you on hold. Okay?
Okay.
This is what we're going to do. I'm going to put you on hold, and Yellow and Sammy are going to go back to you. They're going to send you the link. In the meantime, we're going to get Peter to call in. Then you're going to come on video. You can keep your camera off if you want, or away from you, or even put on another top. And that's the way we're going to pull it off, okay?
Yeah, right.
Let's do this, okay? We have thousands of people that are counting on us right now, okay, Stefan?
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go back to Yellow and Sammy. Okay. All right. Do we have Peter? Peter, is that you?
Yeah, it's me. Yes, speaking.
Hey, Peter, how are you?
Fantastic, Tony. I mean, we had a great evening the other day.
Oh, listen, Peter, what we're going to do, I want you to meet Stefan from Quebec City, okay? So what he's going to do is he's going to join us momentarily, probably in the next minute or two, if all goes well. He's going to join us, okay? And we're going to have a three-way conversation. Peter, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, we got together last week. We watched the game together, right? The Canadiens game versus the Bruins.
Yes.
And I met the lovely Barbara as well.
Yes, and she said the same regards, by the way.
Oh, what a sweetheart she is. Peter, this is the first time that people who follow me have heard your voice live, because the other day I recorded the interview, of course. This is the first time. This is the first time you're calling in, because you haven't called in to a radio station since last May, correct?
Right. Whatever it is. Right.
Yeah, yeah. And so you've never called back radio, right?
If I never called back what?
You never called back the radio station, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't believe so.
You just want to talk to me, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Hey, what great moments we had, you and I, eh?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
What did you think about the show, Peter? What did you think?
Fantastic.
Huh? Well, you and I had double shift your best players. Team concept is total emotion and motivation. You used to call in with those acronyms all the time.
Right. Acronyms mean something.
Now, what did you tell me when we got together for supper last week? What did you tell me when you and I were on the air together? What did you tell me? You said the show, the personality, the spirit. What did you say? I even made you speak to my mother-in-law a couple of days ago. Remember that?
Yeah, I believe I did. I mean, the spirit is there, will always last forever.
The spirit is there, and it will always last forever.
Right.
Peter, no one's going to be able to do what we did.
That is for sure.
The entire city of Montreal was standing still, and they were chanting, Peter, Peter, Peter. When there was traffic in downtown Montreal on the highways, and people were wondering, why is there traffic? Because everyone stopped their car, were listening to the radio, came out, and were chanting your name. And now, what you and I had, we're going to bring it on this podcast.
You know what's another good thing about it?
Yeah.
You know what total motivation stands for? Tony Marinaro.
Total motivation stands for Tony Marinaro, TM. And TM is also trademarked.
Right, trademark, right.
Yeah.
The most, as they said.
Yeah. By the way, Peter, probably comes as no surprise to you.
Yeah.
Right. But since I've decided to move on and go full time with the podcast.
Yes.
The market share is not the same. The audience is not the same. The ratings are not the same. No, I have it here. It's,
okay.
No. Yeah. But we had something special, Peter.
That's for sure. Nothing could match it.
Peter, when the Canadiens trailed 3-1 to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you called in and you said Dominic Ducharme should double shift his best players.
Right.
Do you know that I had a shirt printed that said double shift his best players?
That's fantastic. Stands out.
Yeah. Sweetie, Angela?
Yeah.
Do we have the double shift your best player shirt anywhere here? She's not answering. Hey, do we have Stefan?
Hello, Tony.
Stefan, how are you?
I don't understand you.
You hear me?
No, I have no sound. A little bit of sound.
You have a little bit of sound. Okay, we have to get your sound higher. You don't hear me?
Not much.
Not much. I wonder why. We're supposed to.
My volume is on the top.
Okay, but you hear me now, right?
I will try something.
Yeah, try something. Very important. In life, we have to try things. Are you trying? We have to pull this one off, Stefan. We have thousands of people counting on us.
I understand, but I understand you very a little bit.
You don't hear me all that loud. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to try and talk louder. Hold on a second. Do you hear me better now? Do you hear me better now?
No, maybe it's on my...
Yeah. No, we have to fix this. We have to get back to this now. Everyone, turn up the volume. By the way, we all hear you great. I think what's happening now is Agnello and Sammy are probably going to bring you back to the green room, and they're going to get your volume up, and they're going to put you back. Peter.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, don't go anywhere, Peter. Now, I took a chance. I got to tell you, I don't know if I've ever done this before in my life. I usually don't call people like at around like 11:40 at night. But you told me the other day, I said, Peter, the podcast goes at 10 o'clock at night. And you said, yeah. And I said, well, are you up at that time? And you said, oh, yeah, I don't get to bed before 1 o'clock, you told me. Right?
That's correct. That is correct.
So I took a chance. I said, you know what? He told me he doesn't get to bed before 1 o'clock. Let's give him a call.
Right.
And there you are.
Here's another good thing I want to tell you. This is really good.
Yeah, tell me.
We all know about the Boston Bruins, right?
But hold on. Can you hold on a second? Because I think Stefan is back. Stefan, are you back?
Tony, I will try with my headphones.
Oh, yeah. Try with the headphones. Yes.
Okay. We all talk about the Boston Bruins, right?
Well, let's talk about the Bruins with Stefan in just a second. Hold on. He's trying his headphones now. Maybe if he had a Bluetooth speaker, it would be even better.
Okay.
Stefan. Emositumo.
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
No. Stay, Peter. Peter, we're here. Don't go anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. We just have to wait for Stefan. He's trying on headphones. He took himself off camera. He's wearing his Pierre Cardin.
Tell you, this is really good.
He's wearing his pajama de peluche tonight. Stefan, are you there? Stefan?
I don't know what happened.
No. Stefan?
What happened to Stefan?
I don't know. Can it be that he's intimidated by the greatness of Peter from Côte Saint-Luc?
I don't know, but I have something really good to tell you.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Tell me.
This will last forever.
What you're going to tell me is going to last forever. Well, if it's so good, I'm going to write it down, Peter.
Okay, please do.
Yeah.
Okay. We all talk about the Boston Bruins, right?
The Boston Bruins, yes.
How good they were and how good they are, right?
The Boston Bruins, how good they were and how great they are. Good and great, yes.
Now, what I'm going to say, a little bit of sound stands for LBOS. Little bit of sound. And the BOS sounds, it's like Boston.
Little bit of sound and BOS for Boston.
It sounds like Boston. LBOS.
And hopefully they take an L in the playoffs because an L would be a loss.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a little something that I came up with.
That's riveting.
Well, thank you.
This is riveting. Only you can think of this on such short notice like this, on the fly, just like that.
Right.
You are quick, you are witty, and you are my friend, Peter from Côte Saint-Luc. In the meantime, I don't know if Stefan is rolling one up or whatever, what he's doing, boo. But Stefan, we put people nowadays on the moon. We put them on the moon. All we did was send Stefan a link to join our video call and get on. He's making it very, very complicated. We put people on the moon. We could take a drone. We could fly it, I don't know where. It can land on top of somebody's house. It can actually land in their backyard. It can show us video of everything around the house. But yet Stefan is having a challenge with the video call. Just tell Stefan to call on the phone. We can't because to have two callers on together at the same time, we don't have that technology, which, by the way, we should. And Yellow and Sammy, can we place a call tomorrow? I want to have as many people on the line together as possible. We have to do a video call, this, that, whatever. Okay. Okay. Sammy just said, let's do an all-nighter.
Oh.
Peter, have you done an all-nighter before?
In which way?
That's a great question because that question can be interpreted many ways, right?
An all-nighter could be up all night?
Could be up all night. I mean, the last time I did an all-nighter was the honeymoon, but that's another story for another day. Right. Mind you, it's 12:01 a.m. and at this point, all the kids are asleep, and we could probably talk about this stuff if we wanted to.
Right.
Yeah, why not? I mean, we're all adults here. The last time I had an all-nighter was the honeymoon. This is the podcast that never sleeps. If Sammy wants to go all night, I can talk for the next 3 hours. Not a problem.
Honeymooners.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah. The all-nighter was not Jackie Gleason and the Honeymooners.
It was not Jackie Gleason and the Honeymooners. No.
Was us?
No. By the way, do you know the story of Robert?
Which Robert?
So Robert is one of my former callers. Okay. And Robert called in to tell us that when he got married, he went on a honeymoon in Jamaica.
Okay.
And after one day, his wife was no longer having breakfast with him. She was having breakfast with Juan Pablo, the yoga teacher.
All right.
Okay. With Juan Pablo, the yoga teacher.
All right.
And he thought it was fishy. So he asked her what was going on.
Yeah.
And she went back and she told Robert, I don't love you anymore. I just, I think this was a mistake. So then she moved out of that room into another room. They stayed there for the entire week anyway. Yeah. And when they came back on the plane, different seats, right?
Yeah.
But that's it. After one day, she hooked up with Juan Pablo, the yoga teacher.
Huh.
That's the story of Robert. There's another twist to this whole story here. And that is that years later, and by the way, her name was Bianca, his ex-wife, Bianca. Years later, he hooked up with Stephanie. And he got married with Stephanie. And he went on his honeymoon. And where do you think he went? Back to Jamaica, to the exact same resort. And I said to him, I said, Robert, you're just asking for trouble here. What are you doing? You're going to Jamaica for your honeymoon after your wife left you day one for Juan Pablo, the yoga teacher?
Doesn't make sense.
And he said, it's not going to happen with this one. And so he was calling me live from his second honeymoon with Stephanie, trying to win a contest because I think we were giving out some tickets or something.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, Robert, after you lost your first wife after one day to Juan Pablo, you're going back to the same country and the same resort on your second honeymoon. And you're calling me Peter, I don't know about you, but when I went on my honeymoon, the last thing on my mind was picking up the phone to call a radio station to try and win a contest. The last thing on my mind, period, was to pick up the phone. I wasn't calling anybody when I was on my honeymoon. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Like, in life, we have certain obligations. And there's certain duties, responsibilities. And there's certain things that you should just do. And when you go on your honeymoon, it's not supposed to be spent on the phone calling radio stations back home.
It should be celebrating your vacation, your honeymoon, or
You
whatever.
should be celebrating your honeymoon.
Right.
You go for about a week and maybe, just maybe, you see the beach. Maybe. Maybe you actually go into the water. Maybe. For the most part, most people spend most of their time on the honeymoon in their room. Oh my God,
Right.
Look what we have here.
Right.
Stefan, is that you?
Yes, it's me. Hello, Tony.
Hey, Stefan, this is unbelievable. You got dressed up for the occasion.
Yes,
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I put a hockey jersey for you, just for you.
Oh my God, it's the Los Angeles Kings.
Yes.
C'est-tu Marcel Dion that you
No.
have in the back? Or what?
I have my family name on the back.
Oh, your family name. And can I ask what that is?
Yes. Maybe you could see. Okay.
Yeah,
Check.
turn around. Yeah. Don't move the camera anymore. I'm getting dizzy. Turn around.
I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah. You just turn around. Do a 180. I don't see it. No, I don't see it yet. You're not in the camera. Stefan, this is wonderful, by the way. Why don't we do this, Stefan, for this to go better, okay? Look at this. He's taking off this guy's the best. Look at this. Check what's up. Peter, he's putting his jersey now in the camera. Hold on. He's going to... Vachon! Hey, ça c'est le chandail de Rogi Vachon.
Yes, it's my family name.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Very good.
When I was young, my neighbors, mon voisin,
Yeah.
was Mario Lessard
Yes.
from East Broughton. I'm born in East Broughton.
Mario. Stefan, can we do this? This is great, by the way, that I can see you. By any chance, can you put your phone landscape like sideways? This way we'll see you even better.
Like that?
Yeah. No, just sideways. No, it's okay. It's okay. You know what? Don't worry about it. Hey, I want you to meet Peter from Côte Saint Luc. Peter, I want you to meet Stefan.
Hello, Pete.
Stefan, it's great to speak with you.
Yes.
Peter?
Comment on dit, Tony, Peter, c'est un sage. Moi, quand je l'écoute, c'est comme un sage.
Stefan says that you're a very wise man.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter,
Comments mean a lot.
Peter, Stefan is very impressed that when the Canadiens were down 3-1 versus the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs, you called my radio show at the time the best radio show in the history of Montreal radio shows, correct?
Correct.
I'm 100%. You called and you had advice for Dominic Ducharme. What did you say? What did you say that day on the air that he should do?
Double shift your best players.
Double shift your best players. But Stefan, you know what happened? Luckily, Toronto, they didn't double shift their best players. The Canadiens did. They came back. They won Game 5, Game 6, Game 7. They won the series.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. That's it.
But Peter called that on your podcast at the radio? Or?
That was at the radio back then.
At the radio, okay.
Tonight is his first call of many calls to the podcast. He's going to end up becoming a regular. We're going to get him a tablet. We're going to hook him up. He's going to do the video call just like you're doing. People are going to be able to see him. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Right.
Double shift your best players.
The best call in the last 10 years.
You know what team stands for? The team concept. Team. T-E-A-M. You know what that stands for?
You said that last week, but I don't remember exactly.
Peter, tell him so he's going to remember. Team concept. Tell him.
Total.
Okay. The team concept is total emotion and motivation.
Total emotion and
Motivation.
That's it.
Motivation, yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay.
It's better than the concept of culture.
Peter, this is what I'm going to do because I'm on 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Okay.
And the beauty of podcasting here, there's no commercials. You understand? This is not like you do a 2-hour show, but minus 40 minutes of commercials. There's an hour 20. No. This is straight. You understand? None of the commercial stuff, whatever. Okay. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to sit back for the next 2 or 3 minutes. And I want you to have a conversation with Stéphane, who lives in Quebec City and was a big fan of the Quebec Nordiques back in the day and a big fan of the late, great Guy Lafleur. Right there. You see that chair?
For sure.
Guy Lafleur. He signed that. Look at that. It says Guy Lafleur, number 10, Flower, Hockey Hall of Fame, 1988, 5 cups. Peter,
yes,
I'm gonna give you and Stéphane a 2-minute conversation. All right.
Okay.
And I'm gonna sit back. Go.
Okay.
Yes, Peter.
The most important thing is if you have the total emotion and motivation, you think positive, and that's how you win. That's how you win games.
For sure. And how
you have that concept there, you never lose.
Right. And Peter, how do you see the next year and the next 2 years for the Canadiens? I know it is a reconstruction, but I think Martin Saint-Louis wants to win next year or maybe in 2 years, and he's gonna call a use to make to draft a good player or to make a trade. What's your opinion?
Well, what they have to do is either draft some players that have the same intensity as Vinny Lecavalier.
Okay.
And if you have a player like Vinny Lecavalier, you can get the player from either the Quebec League or bring that player in from Europe, and you have that player with the same image as Vinny Lecavalier, and you can't lose.
Okay. Maybe Slavkovsky will be in this line. This kind of player, he's tall. He have a lot of weight. He's a right-hander, I think. But the other prospect in the farm of the Canadiens, I think they are very small in defense and in offense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right, or?
Yeah, well, they don't really have any players with height. So if you have a player that has the same image, the same looks like Vinny Lecavalier, you can't lose.
Absolutely, but now we have Anderson, we have Dak. We don't have any big player on the offense. Okay, Slavkovsky, but next year he will be he have 19 years old, so we are not very big at the offense.
No, well, you need a guy that have the same type of intensity as Vinny Lecavalier, and you can't lose.
Well, it's probably better to have a guy with the intensity of Marty St. Louis.
Okay, but we can just have Tony, Suzuki, Caulfield. We saw all those forwarders. Maybe I think they are too small.
You think they're all too small, eh?
The prospect and Gallagher is small. Harris is not very big. Caulfield is small. Suzuki is small.
Raphaël Harvey-Pinard is small.
The newest guy tonight, he's small.
He's small too, yeah. Peter, I like what Stéphane is saying. There's a lot of talent on this team, but I think he's worried that you're going to have too many small players at the same time. Everyone knows that Caulfield is small, but he's a great goal scorer. But Stéphane is just worried that there's going to be too many small players at the same time. So that's, at least they have some pretty big players too, Stéphane. They have Slavkovsky. They have Josh Anderson. They have Kirby Doc.
Okay.
They have Kaden Gooley. They have Kovacevic.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Edmondson right now is a big guy too.
Okay, and no, at the defense it's okay.
Yeah,
but I talk for the forward three to the forward.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. What you're saying is you can see them going forward, making the playoffs because they'll get by on scale 82 games, but you don't see them getting through the entire marathon that is the playoffs because they're going to wear down because they're too small.
Right.
That's what Peter, what do you think of what he's saying?
Well, he has a point there. As I say, you need to get a player that resembles Vinny Lecavalier.
Okay, so what you're saying is, you're saying the Canadiens should go after Pierre-Luc Dubois. Peter, that's what you're saying, right?
How large is the Dubois?
Pierre-Luc Dubois is 6'3".
Okay.
That's a big boy.
You have the same intensity as Lecavalier.
You know what? I would say that it's close. I mean, he's never won the Stanley Cup yet, but Pierre-Luc Dubois is a good 6'2.5", a good 210, 212 pounds. He's been in the National Hockey League for about 7 seasons. He has 25 goals and 33 assists and 58 points thus far this year. You know, he hails from Saint-Agathe-des-Monts, and he played for Marty St. Louis when he was a consultant with the Columbus Blue Jackets when Tortorella was coach. And he really wants to play for the Montreal Canadiens, and he's in Winnipeg right now. His contract's up at the end of the year. He'll have 1 more year as a restricted free agent, and then he goes UFA. Peter from Côte Saint-Luc, are you saying right now that if for the Montreal Canadiens to win the Stanley Cup, they need to make a deal for Pierre-Luc Dubois?
Be a good player to have. He'd be an excellent player to have on the team.
Excellent player. And what would you be willing to give up, Peter?
That is a question I don't know, to be honest with you.
It's something that you'd have to think about it because you're not the emotional type when you make trades.
But Tony, my point is it's not that we need exactly Pierre-Luc Dubois. We need a hockey player like Pierre-Luc Dubois. Maybe not next year, but in 2 or 3 years, we need a guy like him. And I know your point, Tony. I think on the ice, you're okay that Pierre-Luc Dubois is a good player. Your point is at out the ice, I think, that you have some question about Pierre-Luc Dubois.
I have 2 questions. And by the way, if you love what we're doing here, comment sick. Sammy wants you to comment sick if you want us to keep on going. I want to keep on going. My wife is messaging me at 100 miles an hour. She's trying to get to sleep. For whatever reason, we never put a door here. She hears everything that I'm saying. I think I'm going to be in the doghouse starting tomorrow. But anyway.
Okay.
Stéphane, this is what I say.
Okay.
I say that I like Pierre-Luc Dubois. Everyone does. It worries me that he's wanted out of the 2 teams that he's been with. That worries me.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
Number two, Caulfield's going to make a lot of money here. They're probably going to give him upwards of $8 million. Suzuki's making 7.875. You're going to have some other contracts that you're going to have to give players money to at some point here. And, you know, players are going to get raises, and you're going to need to have some players on entry-level contracts. If you go out and you get Pierre-Luc Dubois, how much money are you giving him? Are you giving him more? Are you going to give him more than Suzuki?
Even $6 million.
And I'm going to tell you something, and this is something that nobody has brought up yet in this market. Nobody. But because I'm Marinaro and I'm a step ahead with all the other ones that do this kind of work, you understand? Mm-hmm. I'm on the other side of the street and I'm whistling to everybody saying, guys, I'm over here. I'm going to bring up something now for the very first time in all this Pierre-Luc Dubois talk that you haven't heard anywhere. French radio, English radio, television, Nowhere. No other podcast. There's going to be a challenge if the Canadiens acquire Pierre-Luc Dubois. Do you want to know what that challenge is going to be? Listen carefully to what I tell you. Write this down if you're going to forget it, or we can save it here because this is going in the library. This is going in the archive. At one point, somebody from the French media is going to say that Pierre-Luc Dubois should be the captain of the Montreal Canadiens and not Nick Suzuki.
No.
I bet you someone is going to say that at some point because he's a gars de chez nous. Listen, I know the way this business works. I'm going to tell you the way it works. You could tell me the way your line of work works. I can tell you the way my line of work works. The French media, they like to have a lot of gars de chez nous play on the Montreal Canadiens and the Canadiens to go out to get a lot of these gars de chez nous. Okay? For two reasons. Number one, they end up becoming chummy avec. They get invited to their barbecues in the summer. Hey, they even get invited to their weddings. Believe me when I tell you this. Number one. So they end up making contacts. You understand? Number one. Number two, the more French players, the more players are interviewed, the more audio clips they have for their show, and they have material. If you don't have French players here, only English players are interviewed. And if you listen, they rarely play any of the audio, any of the clips. That's why they want un directeur général qui parle en français, un entraîneur qui parle en français, des joueurs qui sont français. This is it.
But we...
So if he would be the captain, he would talk even more. Everybody knows that Pierre-Luc Dubois is not captain material. Everybody knows that.
But Tony, if we have more French player in the team, Pierre-Luc Dubois doesn't need to be a captain or an assistant. You have the example right juste en arrière de toi, Guy Lafleur. Jamais été assistant, jamais été capitaine parce qu'il y avait beaucoup de francophones dans l'équipe.
Well, also, they didn't want to put the pressure on him knowing that he was scoring 50 to 60 goals a year. But don't forget, back in the day, the Canadiens had some big-time captains. Like, nobody ever questioned Serge Savard's captaincy.
Never.
Nobody ever questioned Bob Gainey's captaincy. Now, I could be wrong on this. You raise a great point, and you might be right, and I might be wrong. And then, you know what? In a year from now, Agnello's going to get rid of me, and he's going to hire you to do the podcast. Okay? At that point, you have a decision to make. And the decision is going to be whether or not you're content on $40,000 a month. You understand? If you are, you go for it. If not, you don't. But you might be right. You might be right.
Maybe.
Peter.
Yes.
Stefan doesn't know this, but for a long time, you were willing to offer your services to the Montreal Canadiens.
That's correct.
Stefan, I have never met anyone with the energy and the determination that Peter has at this stage of his life. It's unbelievable. This man will work until the very last second.
Right.
I approve, Tony.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Peter.
Right.
I hope this is the first of many where we put you on with Stefan or with other people and we have this kind of conversation.
I hope so, because seriousness means a lot.
It means a lot.
Communication means a lot.
Communication is everything. So that's
right.
That is 66 spinning to answer Kelly wearing the Los Angeles Kings jersey and the glasses. He got out of his Pierre Gardin pajama de Palacios. and he got dressed like that. And he's on video. Look at those pants. Look at that. Guarda tu. Guarda tu.
Yeah. I'll tell you, you take hockey players.
Yeah.
How success of a hockey player is positions.
Yeah.
How good they are on the ice.
Yeah.
And tie into the team. If you have a team, if you have a leader out there, the leader wins for the team.
Yeah. Guys, in ending, because I think we can end this now because, you know, I feel like I got to get off because my wife's going to leave me and I have too much to lose. At the same time, I feel like if she's going to leave me anyway, I might as well just stay on. Peter,
yes.
Why don't we do this? For Stefan, so we can remember our very first time on the Sick Podcast together, all three of us.
Okay.
Stefan, have you ever heard the song Felicità from Albano Carisi and Romina Power?
I don't remember those.
You never heard that song?
No.
This is one of the most passionate songs, one of the best songs. Felicità means happiness in Italian, okay?
Right.
Peter.
Yes.
Sing with me for Stefan.
Okay.
Felicità.
I'll do my best, okay?
E tenersi per mano, andare lontano la felicità. E tuo sguardo innocente in mezzo alla gente la felicità.
Felicità.
E restare vicini come i bambini la felicità. 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 E un cuscino di piume, l'acqua del fiume che passa e che va. E la pioggia che scende dentro le tende la felicità. E abbassare la luce per fare pace la felicità. 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 E un bicchiere di vino con un panino la felicità. Peter, I can't hear you. E ha lasciato un biglietto dentro il cassetto la felicità. Peter, Gagnero, Vincero. E cantare due voci quanto mi piace la felicità. Felicità. Stefan, senti nell'aria c'è già la nostra canzone d'amore che va come un pensiero che sa di felicità. Stefan, thank you for being a good sport. We'll talk to you again. À demain, mon chum. Peter.
Salut Tony.
Peter, have a great night. God bless you. I love you, buddy.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Stefan. It was a wonderful conversation, and communication is the key to everything. If you communicate, you win the battle.
That's what we're doing here, Peter. To everyone who stuck with us, starting from 10 p.m. all the way until now. This is the longest we've gone, but I have a feeling we're going to break this record. Thanks for all your support, especially, of course, the Energy Transportation Group and La Bittt Tibi, who bring you the Sick Podcast. Franiello Cavallaro and Sammy Cavallaro. Thank you, Peter. Have a great night. I'm Marinaro. This podcast is sick. I am sick. We are the Sick Army. We are the Sick community. And we're taking over the podcast scene in Montreal, in Quebec, in Canada, and beyond. Tomorrow, 10 p.m. Talk to you again.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. La Vida TB. Embrace your true nature.